Let me ask you something uncomfortable. Why do some people stay stuck in the same problems for 10, 20, even 30 years? It's not because they're unlucky. It's because they keep doing the same stupid things without ever questioning themselves. And here's the twist most people never see coming. Stupidity isn't about low IQ. It's about repeating behaviors that sabotage your life, even when the evidence is right in front of you. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to challenge you, maybe even trigger you a little, but it will also sharpen you. Because the Stoics taught a harsh but liberating truth. The unexamined mind is the root of repeated suffering. Wise people grow because they observe their patterns. Foolish people suffer because they defend them. So if you're ready to break the cycles that hold you back, stay with me. We're about to expose 7 things only stupid people keep doing, and how to stop them before they quietly destroy your life. 1. They always think they're right. There's a certain kind of person who walks through life convinced they've already figured everything out. They don't listen, they don't question, they don't reflect. They cling to their opinions the way a drowning man clings to a piece of wood. Not because it keeps them afloat, but because they're terrified of sinking into the unknown. That's the irony. People who need to be right the most are usually the ones most afraid of truth. You've seen them at work, at family gatherings, online. Always ready to argue, never ready to understand. They mistake stubbornness for confidence, volume for conviction, and pride for intelligence. But here's the reality most people never face. When you can't admit you're wrong, your life can't move forward. Years ago, I watched a man at my old job, undeniably smart, ruin his own reputation in a single meeting. Someone kindly pointed out a flaw in his plan. Instead of saying, "Tell me more," he exploded. He barked back with charts, excuses, sarcasm, anything to avoid acknowledging the obvious. Nobody said a word, but you could feel the room close around him. He didn't lose the argument. He lost the room, and he never got it back. That's what arrogance does. It doesn't just block knowledge. It repels people. It shrinks your world until the only voice you trust is your own. And that's a dangerous place to live. The Stoics warned about this centuries ago. Epictetus said, "You cannot learn what you think you already know." To them, certainty wasn't strength. It was blindness. Humility was the real power. A humble mind adjusts. A humble mind grows. A humble mind survives. But a rigid mind, one challenge and it snaps. And here's the part most people hate to hear. The smartest people you'll ever meet are the quickest to say, "I might be wrong." Not because they doubt themselves, but because they trust reality more than their ego. Stupid people protect their opinions. Wise people protect their growth. Notice the difference? One is a prison, the other is freedom. If you want to break this habit, and trust me, it's one of the hardest to see in yourself, start with awareness. Pay attention to the small moments, when someone corrects you and you instantly tense up, when you interrupt before they finish, when you're already preparing your comeback instead of actually listening. Those are signs your ego is driving the car, and your life is headed straight for a wall. So here's your Stoic practice. Before you respond, ask yourself, do I want to win, or do I want to understand? Because those two paths rarely lead to the same place. The moment you choose understanding over winning, something shifts. The conversation softens. Your mind opens. You gain respect instead of demanding it. And slowly, your life stops being a battlefield and becomes a classroom. Remember this. A person who always has to be right ends up learning nothing. A person who is willing to be wrong ends up learning everything. And in the long run, that's the difference between staying stuck and becoming unstoppable. 2, they repeat the same mistakes and expect a different outcome. There's a certain tragedy you see over and over again. People living the same year on repeat, then calling it a life. They make the same decisions, fall for the same traps, date the same type of toxic people, waste time on the same distractions, and somehow still hope things will magically get better. It's the quiet delusion of the foolish. Maybe this time it'll be different. No change in mindset, no change in behavior, no change in discipline, just hope. Empty, unsupported hope. Wise people don't live like that. Stupid people do. Let's be brutally honest. Life doesn't get better by accident. It gets better by pattern recognition. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote that human suffering comes not from events, but from our interpretations and repeated reactions. In other words, you keep suffering because you keep responding the same way. Most people don't have new problems. They have old problems wearing new disguises. I knew a guy in his 40s, good heart, decent career, but his life was chaos. Not because he was unlucky, but because he kept repeating the same self-destructive loops. He always trusted the wrong people. He spent money every time he felt stressed. He avoided uncomfortable conversations until they blew up. And every year, he'd say the same sentence. I don't know why life keeps doing this to me. Life wasn't doing anything to him. He was doing it to himself. He wasn't cursed. He just wasn't learning. Here's the brutal truth. If you don't learn the lesson repeats, louder each time. The Stoics would call this self-inflicted suffering, pain that comes not from the world, but from your failure to evolve. And the longer you ignore these patterns, the more expensive they become. Financially, emotionally, spiritually. Think about the patterns in your life. Do you always lose your temper in the same situations? Do you keep choosing people who don't choose you back? Do you break your promises to yourself every January? Do you repeat the same arguments with your partner? Do you keep saying tomorrow to the things that matter most? Those aren't accidents. Those are signals, invitations to grow or collapse. The difference between a wise person and a foolish one is simple. A wise person changes after the first mistake. A foolish person repeats it until it becomes their identity. Here's the Stoic solution. Stop obsessing over the outcome and start analyzing the pattern. Because people don't rise to their goals, they fall to their habits. And most people are being strangled by habits they refuse to acknowledge. So let's break the cycle with a simple exercise the Stoics would approve of. The pattern audit. 3 brutally honest questions. Before you call something bad luck, ask, what exact behavior did I repeat that created this outcome? Be specific. Patterns hide in vagueness. What emotion drove that behavior? Fear, ego, loneliness, comfort, avoidance. What tiny change would break this loop starting today? Not a huge shift, just the smallest new action. Do this weekly. You'll be shocked by how predictable your life becomes once you map the patterns. And here's a hard pill to swallow. Some people stay stuck not because change is hard, but because change forces them to confront who they've been. And that's terrifying. It's easier to blame the world than to rewrite the script of your own life. But you're not here for the easy path. You're here because you're tired of repeating cycles that drain you. So let me give you one final Stoic truth to tattoo on your mind. You are not a victim of your patterns. You are the author of them. And if you can write them, you can rewrite them. Your future doesn't depend on perfection. It depends on breaking one stupid pattern at a time. 3, they react emotionally, instead of responding intentionally. If there is one habit that can destroy your job, your relationships, your reputation, and your peace faster than anything else, it's this: emotional reactivity. Stupid people react. Wise people respond. That single difference is the line between chaos and control, between a life you endure and a life you lead. You've seen emotional reactors before. One rude comment, they explode. One inconvenience, they make it a crisis. One disagreement, they turn it into a war. They take everything personally, even when it has nothing to do with them. Their mood controls their decisions. Their impulses control their mouth, and their insecurity controls their entire life. The Stoics called this the greatest weakness of the undisciplined mind, being ruled by feelings instead of reason. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You don't have to turn this into something. You don't have to let it upset you." The key word is let. Anger doesn't force its way in. Annoyance doesn't break the door down. Fear doesn't kidnap you. You let it take over. That's why emotional reactivity is so destructive. It hands your inner kingdom over to temporary emotions. And temporary emotions love to make permanent messes. I once worked with a guy who was brilliant, charismatic, talented, and emotionally explosive. One day, a simple scheduling mistake sent him into a full meltdown. He slammed his laptop shut, cursed at people who had nothing to do with the issue, and stormed out. He came back the next day pretending nothing happened. But something did happen. People lost trust. Leadership lost confidence. His opportunities quietly disappeared. Not because of the mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. But because he had zero control over his reactions. That's what emotionally reactive people never understand. It's not the event that ruins you. It's the version of yourself you become when you react without discipline. Now look at your own life. How many arguments have you made worse because you spoke too soon? How many opportunities have you ruined because you seemed defensive or insecure? How many days have you destroyed because you let one emotion hijack the next 12 hours? That's the cost of reactivity. Not just damage, self-induced damage. Stoicism teaches the opposite way of being. A person who responds, not reacts, becomes unshakable. A reaction is automatic. A response is chosen. A reaction is emotional. A response is intentional. A reaction creates regret. A response creates respect. So how do you train yourself to stop reacting? The Stoics used a simple but extremely powerful practice, and you can apply it in seconds. The Stoic pause. 3 steps to master your response. 1. Pause the impulse. Literally, stop. Don't speak, don't text, don't act. Just freeze for a moment. It sounds small, but it breaks the chain between emotion and action. 2. Breathe to reset the body. A slow breath in, a longer breath out. It switches your nervous system out of fight mode, letting your mind return online. 3. Ask the grounding question. What is the most powerful version of me supposed to do right now? Not the petty version, not the insecure version, not the emotional version, the powerful version. The moment you ask that question, you elevate yourself above the emotion. And here's the transformation. Every time you choose discipline over impulse, you strengthen your character. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you earn the respect of others. Every time you choose intention over reaction, you build a life you're proud of. Stupid people let their emotions drive the car. Wise people let their emotions speak, but never let them steer. Remember this: your emotions are real, but they are not your boss. You are the final decision maker. When you stop reacting and start responding, you don't just become calmer. You become dangerous in the best possible way, unshakably composed, impossible to manipulate, and fully in control of your destiny. 4. They blame everyone, except themselves. If there is one trait that keeps people stuck in the exact same place for decades, it's this: the refusal to take responsibility. Stupid people have a remarkable talent. They can explain why something is never their fault. Their ex was the problem, their boss was unfair, their friends weren't supportive, the timing wasn't right, the economy, the traffic, the weather, God, the universe, anyone, anything. Except the person in the mirror. You've seen this pattern. You may have lived it yourself at some point. It's the mindset that treats life like a courtroom. Everyone else is on trial, and you're the innocent victim in every story. But here's the truth that hits hardest. The moment you blame others for your circumstances, you hand them control of your life. Stupid people think blame protects their ego. Wise people know responsibility protects their future. I once knew a guy who lost 3 jobs in a row. 3. Each time, the story was the same. Management didn't appreciate me. Co-workers were jealous. People sabotaged me. Sure, once could be bad luck. Twice, maybe. But 3 times. That's a pattern. And patterns reveal character. His real problem wasn't the jobs. It was that he never paused long enough to ask himself the one question that could have changed everything. What part of this is mine? The Stoics hammered this truth relentlessly. Epictetus taught that freedom begins the moment you accept your role in your own suffering, not because everything is your fault, but because everything is your responsibility. And responsibility is power. When you take responsibility, you regain control of your reactions. When you take responsibility, you learn faster than everyone else. When you take responsibility, life stops happening to you and starts happening for you. But let's be honest. Responsibility is uncomfortable. Blaming people is easy. Complaining feels good. Playing victim earns sympathy and lowers expectations. It lets you avoid facing your flaws. And for many people, that's the real addiction. Avoiding the truth of who they've become. But avoidance is expensive. It costs you years. It costs you growth. It costs you opportunities you don't even realize you missed. And worst of all, it costs you your own respect. Now look at your life with brutal honesty. Where have you been blaming instead of building? Are you blaming your childhood for habits you could have fixed as an adult? Are you blaming your ex instead of healing the parts of you that chose them? Are you blaming your boss instead of improving your discipline? Are you blaming circumstances instead of sharpening your skills? Here's the harsh truth that separates the wise from the foolish. If the problem is always someone else, the solution will never be you. The Stoic fix is simple but transformative. Focus only on what you can influence. Your judgment, your actions, your habits, your effort. So here's a practice the Stoics would recommend. The responsibility reset. 3 powerful steps. 1. Name your role honestly. Not, I messed up everything, but here's the part that was mine. 2. Decide on 1 correction, not 10. Just 1 thing you will do differently next time. 3. Release what's outside your control. No rumination, no obsessing, no replaying the story for the 100th time. Responsibility is not about guilt, it's about clarity. It doesn't punish you, it frees you. Because once you know what part is yours, you finally know what part you can change. And here's the final twist. The people who take responsibility rise faster than everyone around them. Not because they're perfect, but because they're willing to learn from what others deny. So remember this, blame keeps you powerless. Responsibility makes you dangerous. Stupid people run from accountability. Wise people run toward it because accountability is where real growth begins. 5. They talk about goals. Instead of taking action, there's a certain type of person who treats talking like progress. They talk about getting in shape. They talk about starting a business. They talk about fixing their finances. They talk about changing their life one day. But one day never comes, because stupid people mistake intentions for actions and words for work. They get a dopamine hit just from saying their big plans out loud, so they never actually do the hard part. Wise people know a painful truth. Talking about your goals is the fastest way to kill them. Why? Because the moment you brag about a goal, your brain relaxes. It feels like you've already accomplished something. You get the reward without doing the effort. You get the praise without the result. And that tiny fake win becomes a very real trap. I once had a friend who always talked like he was on the edge of greatness. Every January, he'd announce to everyone, "This is my year. New business ideas, new routines, new commitments." he said all the right things. Inspirational, confident, exciting, but when February came, nothing changed. March, still the same. By August, he was back to complaining about how life was unfair. It wasn't unfair. He just liked the performance of ambition more than the discipline of execution. The Stoics despised this behavior. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it." Meaning, stop performing. Start living. Let your actions speak for you, not your empty promises. Stupid people don't see that every time they talk instead of act, they lose something. Respect from others. Respect from themselves. And worst of all, the belief that they are capable of change. When you don't follow through, you quietly teach your brain a dangerous lesson. Your words don't matter. So your confidence dies, your discipline fades, and your self-trust collapses. That's why the wisest, strongest people rarely announce anything. They don't post every new beginning. They don't brag about their goals. They don't tell the world what they're about to do. They just do the work and let the results speak. The world respects results. The world ignores promises. Now ask yourself honestly, how many times have you talked about changing your life without committing to the actions that would actually change it? How many times have you said, "I'll start tomorrow. I'm waiting for the right time. I need to feel motivated first." Stupid people wait for motivation. Wise people build discipline. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is a furnace. So here's your Stoic practice. Simple, brutally effective, and impossible to fake. The ugly first step. Rule: you want to start something? Don't plan it. Don't announce it. Don't post it. Don't romanticize it. Just do the ugliest, messiest, smallest version of the task. Right now. Write one sloppy paragraph. Do 5 push-ups. Put $20 in savings. Send one email. Walk for 10 minutes. Watch one tutorial. Why? Because the ugly version builds momentum. And momentum is the one thing stupid people never create. They wait for perfect conditions. Wise people use whatever they have. And here's the twist. Once you start, even in the smallest, messiest way, your brain shifts from fantasy mode to identity mode. You stop saying, "I want to be someone who does this," and you start becoming the person who actually does it. Action rewires identity. Words only inflate ego. So remember, you don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your habits. Stupid people dream loudly. Wise people work silently. Your future won't be built by what you say. It will be built by what you repeatedly do, especially on the days you don't feel like doing it. 6. They surround themselves with the wrong people and stay too long. If you want to predict someone's future, don't look at their goals. Look at their circle. Stupid people surround themselves with anyone who makes them feel comfortable, even if those people drain their potential, distract them from their purpose, or slowly poison their character. And worse, they stay way too long. Long after the signs were clear. Long after their gut screamed, "Leave." Long after the relationship, the friendship, or the environment stopped serving their growth. Why? Because stupid people value comfort over character and familiarity over future. They fear being alone more than they fear being held back. But here's the hard truth the Stoics understood better than anyone. The people you allow into your life shape your mind, and your mind shapes your destiny. Marcus Aurelius warned that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. What he didn't say, but absolutely implied, is this: your thoughts are shaped by the people you spend time with. Sit with angry people, you become angry. Sit with complainers, you complain. Sit with people who gossip, you start gossiping. Sit with people who do nothing. You do nothing. People are contagious. Their habits, their energy, their mindset, their standards, They're excuses. Everything spreads, and stupid people pretend they're immune. I once watched a man with incredible potential drown in the worst kind of social circle. A group of guys who did nothing but drink, complain, blame, and repeat the same dead-end routines they'd had since high school. He used to dream big. He used to push himself. But over time, you could see it fade. One night he told me, "Man, I know these guys aren't good for me, but they're all I've got." No, they weren't all he had. They were simply all he was willing to let go of. Stupid people don't understand this. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone earns a seat at your table. Not everyone gets to influence your mindset. Wise people choose their circle the way a surgeon chooses a tool, with precision, caution, and clarity of purpose. So how do people stay stuck? Because the wrong people rarely reveal themselves all at once. They drain you slowly, conversation by conversation, habit by habit, excuse by excuse. They pull you into their orbit, and suddenly you start accepting things you once knew were unacceptable. Your standards drop, your discipline weakens, your goals blur, your identity shifts, and one day you wake up realizing you have become a softer, weaker version of yourself, not because you wanted to, but because you tolerated people who benefited from you staying small. Here's the Stoic truth nobody likes to say out loud. If someone consistently lowers your quality of life, they are not your friend. Not in a philosophical sense, not in an emotional sense, not in a practical sense. A real friend pulls you forward. A fake friend pulls you sideways. A toxic friend pulls you down. So here's a Stoic-inspired audit. Short, painful, and necessary. The circle. Check 5 brutal questions. Ask yourself, who in my life makes me dumber, weaker, or lazier? Who drains my energy every time I talk to them? Who never claps when I win? Who always has a reason why I shouldn't try? Who would benefit most from me staying exactly the same? Your answers tell you everything. Now here's the part foolish people never do. They don't leave. They don't distance themselves. They don't protect their peace. They don't choose themselves. Wise people do. Wise people understand that growth requires subtraction, not just addition. You don't rise by collecting more people. You rise by filtering them. Because your environment will either sharpen you like iron or dull you like rust. So remember this. If you want to change your life, you must change who has access to you. Stupid people stay where they're comfortable. Wise people walk away when their future demands it. 7. They never learn from failure. If there's one habit that separates the wise from the foolish more clearly than anything else, it's this: how they handle failure. Stupid people treat failure like a verdict. Wise people treat failure like data. Stupid people get embarrassed, defensive, avoidant. Wise people get curious, analytical, accountable. Stupid people repeat the same disaster 5 times. Wise people only need one punch to understand the fight. You can always tell who someone will become by how they react when life hits them hard. I've seen this play out countless times. 2 people get rejected. 2 people lose money. 2 people make a mistake at work. 2 people get their heart broken. 1 person rises. The other person repeats. Why? Because stupid people don't learn the lesson. They avoid it. They bury it. They rationalize it. They point fingers anywhere but inward. And here's the tragic part. Every time they dodge responsibility, the lesson grows sharper, and the consequences grow heavier. Failure doesn't destroy them. Refusing to learn does. The Stoics understood failure better than anyone. Seneca wrote that suffering becomes unbearable only when you refuse to extract meaning from it. For the Stoics, failure wasn't a shameful event. It was a mirror. Something to examine, not avoid. Something to grow from, not collapse under. But foolish people hate mirrors. They'd rather blame the mirror than face the reflection. Look at your own life for a moment. How many times have you repeated a painful situation simply because you never sat down and asked, "What exactly did this teach me?" How many relationships ended the same way? How many jobs fell apart for similar reasons? How many bad habits have you carried into every new chapter of your life? That's not bad luck. That's unfinished learning. Here's the part most people won't admit. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's the admission fee. Nobody becomes strong without being broken first. Nobody becomes wise without being humbled first. Nobody becomes powerful without first being tested. But stupid people want the reward without the reflection. They want success without scrutiny, growth without discomfort, progress without pain, and life simply does not work like that. Failure is not your enemy. Failure is your mentor, but only if you're humble enough to take notes. So let's get brutally practical. Here is a Stoic-inspired method to break the cycle of repeated failure. The 72-hour rule, the Stoic autopsy. The next time something goes wrong, don't spiral. Don't numb yourself. Don't blame anyone. Just set a timer, 72 hours. When your emotions settle, sit down and ask 3 cutting questions. 1. What exactly happened? Without excuses or drama. Just the facts. Reality is your teacher. 2. What belief, habit, reaction, or blind spot created this outcome? Most failures are not random. They're patterned. 3. What is the smallest behavior change that would prevent this from repeating? Not perfection. A pivot. Do this consistently, and your life will transform faster than you expect. Because here's the truth. You can't control whether you fail, but you can control whether you repeat the failure. And that's where greatness separates itself from mediocrity. Most people suffer because they refuse to ask the hard questions. Stupid people suffer because they refuse to grow from the answers. But wise people, they become unstoppable because they turn every setback into strategy. So remember this: failure doesn't ruin your life. Failing to learn from failure does. A stupid person breaks, blames, and repeats. A wise person bends, learns, and becomes someone new. What you choose next will decide which one you are. If you've made it this far, one thing is clear. You're not here to feel good. You're here to get better. And that alone already separates you from the very patterns we talked about in this video. Because stupid people repeat their mistakes, protect their ego, surround themselves with the wrong crowd, react emotionally, avoid responsibility, talk without acting, and keep circling the same dead ends. But you're doing what the Stoics considered the highest form of strength: self-examination. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the greatest battle is the one you fight within yourself. The fight against your habits, your impulses, your excuses, and your blind spots. And the fact that you're here, listening all the way through, means you're willing to confront that battle instead of running from it. That is rare, that is powerful, and that is the beginning of a completely different life. Remember this: your future isn't decided by your past mistakes. It's decided by the moment you finally say, "Enough, I refuse to repeat this again." So choose one thing, just one, from the 7 we talked about today. Not all 7, just one pattern you're ready to break, and commit to it, quietly, consistently, stoically. If this video hit you in a real way, let me know in the comments. Like the video, share it with someone who needs this reminder, and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom every week. Until next time, stay disciplined, stay aware, and stay unshakable.